everybody. I'm Jim Ross, and welcome to Power Pro Wrestling. We've got a great program for you here today. You're going to see some big names in professional wrestling right here on Power Pro Wrestling. We'll have Terry Taylor in action. Hacksaw Jim Duggan will go against Humongous. You'll see Dick Slater and Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer against the Fantastics. Plus, you'll see Jake the Snake Roberts take on Brad Armstrong, Dr. Death Steve Williams, and Ted DiBiase. The Mid-South Tag Champions will be in action, and you're going to see Rob Bricksteiner, the All-American from the University of Michigan, in action as well. Let's kick things off with the sensational Terry Taylor, a man that's undefeated since he's been back in the Mid-South. His match from the past against the Masked Shadow.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, from parts unknown, the Shadow. And his opponent, standing in the blue corner from Vero Beach, Florida, Terry Taylor.
This event, one fall or 10-minute time limit, from parts unknown, the Shadow, but parts that are known, the fans and people in Vero Beach, Florida know him, and the wrestling fans of Mid-South Wrestling really know him, Terry Taylor.
Well, the Shadow, a very brutal man, going up against some more stiff competition here in Mid-South. Last week he was defeated by Terry Allen, but he made an excellent showing of himself in the process. Terry Taylor now waiting to tie up with the Shadow. The Shadow does not seem to have too good of a rapport with the fans. I think it might be part of his tactics.
Like you said, Joel, last week, parts unknown, and we do not know his identity, but we do know that he does have some experience in professional wrestling by the moves and maneuvers that he showed us here last week.
He's obviously a very talented wrestler. Very powerful. I believe he had a hold of the hair there, but I don't know if Carl Fergie saw that or not. Shadow now telling Carl Fergie to watch Terry Taylor's fist, and he slaps Terry Taylor. He seems to be wearing away now at Terry Taylor with that figure 4 headlock. Terry's struggling to get out, but snapmare by the Shadow. He's wearing away at Terry Taylor. You know, Terry's neck, Boyd, is still not completely healed after being injured on television by Butch Reed. He's the word for his tremendous drive and heart. I don't know if any other man would be in the ring right now.
And taking advantage of that weakness of the neck is the Shadow, his opponent now, who's following through.
Either the Shadow has scouted Terry Taylor. There's Terry Taylor with an abdominal stretch. He's got the Shadow in an abdominal stretch. The Shadow forces him to the ropes for the break. Carl Fergie calling for the break now. Terry Taylor tackled by the Shadow. Terry Taylor now with a sunset. Terry Taylor taking control of that arm now. The Shadow complaining that his tights were pulled. Terry Taylor with a beautiful fireman's carry, exhibiting that great amateur background that he had while in high school and college. Terry now with a knee drop to the upper arm. He seems to be working on that arm now. Trying to take control of the match, wrestle it his way. The Shadow tries to go in there and grab the match and go into a fast pace. The Shadow reverses that knee lift. He raked Terry Taylor's eye. Terry Taylor's in a lot of pain now. Terry Taylor is hurting. Shadow with a high headlock. 2 count. Terry Taylor's one of those wrestlers who you can't discount as long as there's a breath flight left in his body. And then a comic knee drop. Boy, that had to hurt. You know, Boyd Pierce, the compression on the spinal cord tends to mess up the entire nervous system of a wrestler. That hold right there will just devastate an opponent.
And the Shadow has in the time before using those second rope for added leverage, and it backfired on him just as it did then. He figures out the moves, but he cannot follow through. A smart man in the ring is Terry Taylor.
Terry Taylor now trying to come back, trying to gain control of this match, and the shadow reverses him into the ropes. There's that forearm. Terry Taylor with a forearm. A 3 count of the ultimate shadow, Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor, the winner.
The sensational Terry Taylor. A tremendous victory. And ladies and gentlemen, since Terry Taylor's been back in the Mid-South, he's been undefeated. He's made a promise to all the fans that in 1986, he's going to regain the North American Heavyweight Championship. I wouldn't bet against Terry Taylor under any circumstances. Another man that is, well, at the top of the heap. He is a legend in the Mid-South. Hacksaw Jim Duggan goes against Humongous right after this timeout.
This is a Mid-South TV title tournament match. One fall or television time remaining.
Boys and people of Mid-South, I want you to gaze into the corner and into the eyes of the creature from the Valley of Death. The one, the only, Humongous.
And on his way to the ring in this one fall or television time remaining tournament bout from New York State, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The referee, Tommy Gilbert.
And ladies and gentlemen, Hacksaw Duggan taking a very close look at Humongous. I got a feeling they'll get to know each other much more personally than that. But I want to add that Hacksaw Jim Duggan's lady, Deborah, is at ringside for this match. Interesting situation here. We always had the Beauty and the Beast with Humperdinck on the floor on the other side. Of course, being the Beast and the very attractive Deborah on the outside of the ring.
Well, it's good to see her again after what happened to her at the hands of Buzz Sawyer, a tragic incident. It's good to have her around the ringside. I think Duggan, I'm sure, knows what he's doing by bringing her out to ringside with him. I think he has a point to prove. Both of these men squaring off there with a couple of shoulder smashes. Duggan gets the upper hand, though. Duggan caught Humongous with a hard clothesline, takes him down. Clothesline, of course, made illegal in NFL football, but it's still alive and well in the pro wrestling ring. Collar and elbow tie-up. Humongous with a hard forearm smash. He goes for a clothesline. Duggan hangs onto the ropes, throw over Humperdinck, trying to trip him out there. Humperdinck is playing with fire there. Hacksaw Duggan is one man that you don't want to interfere with. Humongous with that big leg. Takes Duggan in again. Bear hug.
Well, this is a main event anywhere in the country. It is a main event without a doubt. Where else in Mid-South Wrestling? This very important television tournament matchup. Of course, the television title vacated. And Hacksaw Duggan went to the mask. Boy, put that big grade A ham on the mask to no avail. He hammered in that mask is a protective piece of gear. Catches Duggan again. Duggan, Humongous has Duggan in a predicament. Here, Sir Oliver Humperdinck on the other side of the ring. Humongous has been undefeated on Mid-South television. Certainly quite a test for Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And the fact that the TV title is on the line in this tournament makes this match a very, very, very important one. Both of these men at the top of the ranks. And with Humongous again goes to the bear hug. Now he's got 275 plus pounds up in that bear hug, and he is squeezing. Hacksaw Duggan, you can see his back getting red around the ribs, and Humongous has really got it locked. His hands are really locked together, and Duggan is in a bad way at this point in time, with Humongous controlling the tempo, which is very unusual, as we see Deborah at ringside cheering Jim on. This is a very unusual situation to see Hacksaw Duggan in.
It sure is, but the people are behind Jim Duggan 100% as we heard him chanting, Dugan, Dugan. Tommy Gilbert wouldn't check the arm of Hacksaw Duggan. He was that close to being unconscious, but Duggan back in again, trying to attack, but still a little bit weary. That bear hug will drive the oxygen right out of your lungs, especially when applied by Humongous.
Well, he's 300 pounds, you know, and he's 6'6" or 7, whatever he is. He's a massive individual. For Oliver Humperdinck wandering around to the wrong side of the ring, in my opinion. The referee can't watch everything. He's got his hands full with this tremendous confrontation. Duggan is being really tested by this phenomenal athlete known only as Humongous.
Well, Duggan, this is the kind of match you really have to get psyched up for, and you really have to use a lot of strategy against a man like Humongous. And Duggan, of course, had his thoughts misdirected earlier with the incident we saw involving Buzz Sawyer. Dick Slater, it's official, he has been fined $2,500 for his actions. Of course. All right, Duggan's back up. Duggan's up, he's firing up.
Yes, sir, he's got him up.
Whoa, I think that's the first time I've ever seen Humongous slam. Humongous.
But the referee, right in the small of the back, right in the kidney area.
Humperdinck is pulling a chair into the ring. Humperdinck is holding a chair up. This is a new tactic, but Duggan reversed it. Oh, and he hammered Humongous. Spear. He hit the spear. Lateral press. Oh, listen to this crowd. Yes. I love it.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan is standing tall, and he is going to move right on in the Mid-South Television Tournament, ladies and gentlemen. What a tremendous victory. There you see him.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan proving once again that he is the toughest man in this area. No doubt about that, in my opinion. Hacksaw Duggan back from a very successful tour of Japan, and he was quite a controversial figure in Japan, as he was, I would assume, Humongous would say the same thing after being crowned with that chair. Duggan once again proving he'll do anything to secure a victory, whatever he has to do. And contrary to what you may have read that Buzz Sawyer was quoted as saying, he ran Hacksaw Duggan out of the Mid-South. Well, that is not true. As we all know, Hacksaw Duggan is here, and he is here to stay. Now, we're going to see Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer along with his partner Dick Slater in a great tag team matchup against the Fantastic after this exciting announcement from the Mid-South Network.
Hi, everybody. We're back to action in just a few moments. We're coming up on Saturday night, February 15th, here in New Orleans at the beautiful Lakefront Arena starting at 8 o'clock. Another tremendous Mid-South event. See Mid-South Wrestling Live Saturday night, February 15th at 8 o'clock. Six-man tag team war features Dick Murdoch, the superstar, and Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, going against Ted DiBiase, Dr. Steve Williams, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Plus, the North American title has been held up. Now, for this match, the DDT will be legal. If Dark Journey is at ringside, she will be searched. Jake Roberts against Dick Slater, and Jake the Snake said this.
I have never liked lawyers. You spent your money on, just like my ex-wife spent money on them. That's when I started disliking them, because they cost me something. Because you're not man enough to stand face to face and say, I can take it from you. You got to go get some man with a nice little three-piece suit that spent his time in college, that's had the easy way out, and now you're taking the easy way out, Slater. Oh, yeah, you're right. I did say I wouldn't use the DDT if Journey wasn't there. Well, she wasn't, and I did. So maybe I stand to be corrected. But not by a lawyer. Why don't you stand up and do it? The stipulation is this. When you look through all the bureaucratic crap, the stipulation is this. If she shows up at ringside, she's to be searched. And I will use the DDT. And as far as last time goes, you know, a lot of people come to me and say, now, Snake, did you know it was her? Of course I did. And I'll do it again, Slater. Anything for the North American title.
This is a very heated situation. Dick Slater has also made some comments. Let's hear this from Mr. Unpredictable.
And I got to laugh, and yet I got to cry. First of all, right back in the no disqualification match, with a stipulation that Dark Journey is out with me, she's got to be searched. Well, you've already DDT'd her, and you told everybody that you wouldn't use the DDT against Dick Slater, and that's the reason why I have got the title held up by law. There's laws in this land, Jake Roberts, and you want to try to learn about them. When you say one thing and do another, well, it doesn't go my way, Jake Roberts, but now, no disqualification. The title's been held up. The DDT's legal. Well, see, Jake Roberts, I know now where to look for the DDT. I didn't before because you said you weren't going to use it. But now, Jake Roberts, I've got my keen sense about your DDT, and you stay away from Journey, and me and you will settle this thing once and for all.
It's all going to happen Saturday night, February 15th at 8 o'clock at the UNO Lakefront Arena. Tickets are $8, $5, and only $3. Tickets available at all Ticketmaster outlets. Get them early. We'll tell you more in the hour.
Great PPW main event for you here from the Oklahoma City Myriad. It's going to be Buzz Sawyer and Dick Slater going against the Fantastics. What a great main event this is. All four of these men are terrific athletes. Buzz Sawyer and Dick Slater with a slight edge in the ring experience, also a slight edge in size. The Fantastics, their reputation is known nationwide for being a great tag team. They're, of course, one of the tag teams that made their name here in the Mid-South. They became famous and made a mark for themselves in professional wrestling right here. And I think it's the high degree of competition that's here that helps men like the Fantastics, young rookies, become great superstars in what is comparatively a short period of time. Buzz Sawyer goes quick to the attack on Tommy Rogers, and he goes in to try and plant a shoulder in the midsection of Tommy, and Tommy is lightning quick. He gets out of the way, and Sawyer is hurting right off the bat. Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers exhibiting that teamwork of theirs. Fulton really has Sawyer in a bad way. And look at this. The two of them switch off on Sawyer. Sawyer's down in that armbar and twist. And her moving so fast, he's trying to complain to the referee that there was no tag made. Of course, Carl Fergie was busy putting Dick Slater out of the ring, who was trying to interfere when he saw his partner in trouble. Buzz Sawyer looks like he's going for the tag, but Tommy Rogers tightens up that armbar and twist, pulls him back into his half of the ring, and that's tag team strategy for you. You have to keep your opponent in your side of the ring at all times to keep him from making that tag, but a nice drop toe hold by Buzz Sawyer, but Tommy Rogers with a quick reversal into the hammerlock. Now, Tommy at that point, I think, should have stayed in that move. He should have kept Buzz down in that hammerlock. But Sawyer with a side backbreaker. Really a lot of momentum on that one. Slater comes off to the elbow, but Tommy Rogers gets out of the way. Tommy with a great move strategically there. He waited for just the right moment to get out of the way of Dick Slater, and Slater felt the pain then. Bobby Fulton coming off. Again, you see the teamwork of the Fantastics. That's the one thing that allows them to be able to compete with people that are larger than them. Is the fact that they're tag team specialists. In a single match, I don't think Bobby Fulton or Tommy Rogers would have a chance against either one of these two, but as it stands now, these two teams are quite evenly matched. Bobby Fulton down with the armbar and twist. You see Dark Journey on the outside of the ring. Dark Journey, of course, has been getting involved in so many matches with Dick Slater recently. Many people have speculated that that's been Slater's little edge, his ace in the hole, every match he's gone into, and probably the reason he's the North American champion at this time, but you can't take anything away from Dick Slater. He is a fine, fine athlete. Bobby Fulton with a roll-up there, but Dick Slater kicks him off, and Bobby Fulton is back down to that armbar and twist again. The Fantastics controlling the momentum in this half of the match so far. They have done a great job. Tommy Rogers off that second rope. Another reversal as Dick Slater Tries to make the tag and get his partner Buzz in. The Fantastics are trying to keep one man in their half of the ring at all times. Classic tag team strategy. Coming up later in this hour, you'll see Jake the Snake Roberts against Brad Armstrong. Also see Rob Ricksteiner in action. Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death, the tag team champions. A lot of great matches, a lot of great action coming up for you. And here's some action right here. Slater goes after that elbow. Tommy Rogers flies over with the sunset flip, but wow, Slater really hammered him with that right cross. Slater with the neck breaker. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to go to a commercial timeout to fulfill our commitments. We'll be back in just a moment with more great power professional wrestling action for you. At this point, let's go back to Jim Ross in the studio.
We'll have more of this exciting tag team matchup and more of Joe Watt's commentary from the Oklahoma City Myriad Center right after this timeout.
Professional wrestling action. Slater and Sawyer have turned the tide on the Fantastics. Sawyer comes in with a hard slap to the face of Tommy Rogers. Sawyer's so vicious. Goes to the rear chin lock. You can see Sawyer is rubbing his chin on the head of Tommy Rogers. Now, little things like that Sawyer does to intimidate his opponent. If you've ever been in an amateur wrestling match against anybody that rubs their chin on your back or head, it not only hurts, but it could be psychologically draining as well, because it gets you so angry you don't even think about what's going on in the match and what your counter should be, what your line of attack is going to be. Back to the action as Buzz Sawyer continues with that rear chin lock. Carl Fergie's checking the legality of the hold. Apparently it's not a choke hold. It's across the jaw. You can see the look on Tommy Rogers' face. He looks pretty pained by that hold, but he's breaking out of it. Tommy Rogers is a powerful man, but you can see that he has the leverage on Sawyer. He extended Sawyer's forearm out to where Sawyer's arm was nearly straight. And look at these men go! My goodness! Sawyer just about hurt there on that jump over on Tommy Rogers, and Tommy went for the flying body press and missed it. Those two men really had some velocity. Uh-oh. Slater's pulling Tommy Rogers on the outside of the ring. Dark Journey looks to be scratching him or slapping him or something as Slater goes out over the top rope to try and put some more punishment on Tommy Rogers on the outside of the ring. Bobby Fulton coming around to try and help out his partner. And of course, you can see Slater coming to the aid of Dark Journey. And when they first came to the Mid-South, we weren't exactly sure of what the relationship was between those two. But I think as weeks go by, it is becoming more clearly defined exactly how those two feel about one another. Tommy Rogers is really hurting outside of the ring against that barricade. He looks to be in a world of hurt. The Dark Journey comes over and adds a little bit more punishment. I see Carl Fergie is watching Buzz Sawyer and Bobby Fulton inside the ring where the action should actually be. Unfortunately, Tommy Rogers is outside, and he's being punished even by Dark Journey. I can't fault Carl Fergie for that. Bobby Fulton down to try and help his partner. A moment ago, we broke for a commercial timeout, and I've heard from several fans that they don't like matches being broken up in the middle. Well, here on Power Professional Wrestling, we show you main events, and oftentimes the time limit is around 60 to 45 minutes. And there's just no way to pack a really long match like this in without getting your commercial commitments in. Buzz Sawyer with a high vertical back suplex on Tommy Rogers. Tommy came down hard, but what a great fighting heart Tommy has. That was a really punishing suplex. Buzz Sawyer holding the tights to keep Tommy Rogers in his half of the ring. That was a blatant breaking of the rules there. But of course, Buzz Sawyer had a 4 count to do it, and he knows how to shade that count. Like I said before, he's a veteran of the ring. Slater and Sawyer the slight advantage in professional ring experience over the Fantastics. Slater down for the lateral press. He was down for quite a while. Tommy Rogers granted a reprieve there, I think. If Carl Fergie had been down to count it a little bit earlier, the match might have ended right there. Tommy Rogers really hurt, but he has so much stamina. Inside drop cradle. He just about caught Sawyer, but I don't think he had the strength to quite do it at this point in the match. Slater went for that pile driver. Tommy Rogers with a reversal. Tommy has made several really good reversals in this match. He has kept his team in the running for quite a while, even though Slater and Sawyer have kept him from making a tag. Oh, man. A hard headbutt to the midsection. Tommy Rogers really trying to make that tag now. He's struggling. Whoa, what a collision. Both men coming off the ropes. Tommy Rogers has so much velocity anyway, anytime he comes off those ropes. Dick Slater, also a quick man in the ring. Well, those two hits, well, it just about knocked them both out. Carl Fergie there with a simultaneous count. All four men are in the ring, but I think Tommy Rogers is not too effective at this point. Bobby Fulton is really effective, however, because he's taken it to Slater and Sawyer both at the same time. Bobby Fulton puts their heads together. What a team the Fantastics are. Not too many people can do that. Tommy Rogers really connected on a drop kick for Dick Slater, and he has turned the tables on Dick. Fulton goes for that flying body press, but what teamwork! We saw the Fantastics with some great teamwork earlier in the match, but man alive, what a great move by Slater and Sawyer. You have to give them that. What an achievement on their part. A very, very well executed clothesline that wins the match for them over the Fantastics. Let's go back to Jim Ross in the studio.
Now that was a very decisive victory for Dick Slater and Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer over a fine team in the Fantastics. You know, when Slater and Sawyer first came to the Mid-South, they teamed a great deal and were very successful, by the way. Since that time, they've gone off in individual competition, and of course, their individual situations. Slater's with Jake the Snake Roberts, and that tremendous collision that has been happening in the Mid-South between Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer and Hacksaw Jim Duggan is gaining national attention. When we come back, we are going to see another man with national recognition. The man with a DDT, Jake the Snake Roberts, against Brad Armstrong right after this from Mid-South.
The final winner receives the beautiful gold medallion plus $10,000. In this tournament match, from Atlanta, Georgia, at 252 pounds in the red corner, Jake the Snake Roberts. And across the ring, 228 pounds, Marietta, Georgia, Brad Armstrong. Your referee, Ron West.
Senior referee Ron West assigned this match by Mid-South. There's the bell. It signals action here in our first event. It's round 6 of the television tournament match. It should be a great one, Joel.
Jake the Snake came right out with a collar and elbow tie-up. The history of conflict between these two men has lended to some pretty hot tempers. As you can see, they're out there going fist and fire right now, right off the bat. These two men are sparing nothing. They got a 15-minute time limit, but you don't see much psychological tactics going on in there. It's just fist and fire. Brad Armstrong handling flying catches with a flying body press. 1 and 2. Brad Armstrong's up and he's ready to go, but
And you got to wonder just exactly what's going through the devious mind of Jake the Snake Roberts in this very, very important encounter with Brad Armstrong. Semi-final round of the television tournament.
oh, nice move by Brad there. He maneuvered that headlock into a hammerlock. Jake the Snake trying to use the hair, but Brad Armstrong saying nothing doing. Brad breaking him down with that hammerlock. A lot of great matches coming up, Jim.
There sure are, Joel. The electrifying Brick House Brown is in this hour, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all also see that very impressive newcomer, Dirty Dutch Mantell from Oil Trough, Texas. So much action. Right back to the ring. We've got a great one here now.
Jake the Snake extricated himself from that hammerlock and managed to put Brad Armstrong in a lot of pain in doing so. That's the one thing about Jake the Snake Roberts. Everything that he does adds pain and punishment. And there, while Ronnie West is trying to break it up in the corner, Jake the Snake still at it. Good. Jake hesitated just a minute, and he who hesitates is lost. Brad Armstrong is back on the attack. You see here, Brad is keeping Jake the Snake down, making him carry his weight. It's a really good strategy for somebody who's taller than you and has a lot of leverage. You can get that person down on the mat. You got him where you want him. And Brad's got that arm extended out there. When you extend the arm to its fullest extension there, you can see Jake's arm is straight. You don't have any power in it. You don't have the power to break out of that thing unless you can really flick it out of there or get up to your base.
Joe will be seeing Steve Dr. Death Williams in action just a little bit later, and he and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the semifinal round in their semifinal match next week here on Mid-South.
Oh, that's going to be a great one. I can't wait to see that match. The first television rematch between those two men. Brad Armstrong with 2 body slams. He just about had Jake again. I'll tell you, I think Brad has had the majority of the aggressive maneuvers thus far in the match. Of course, it's a 15-minute time limit, and you can never discount Jake the Snake Roberts.
That's exactly right. He is a tremendous tactician, but Brad Armstrong's coming from that tremendous wrestling family that he does come from. His father, Bob Armstrong, younger brother was wrestling. He grew up around this great sport, and he's got that arm grapevine there, Joel. It's just another indication of his great wrestling background.
Well, Jake the Snake is really using a lot of force there to try to keep out of that hold. Brad Armstrong with both a hammerlock and a reverse half Nelson is trying to work Jake the Snake Roberts towards his back. But Jake managed to stay out of that. I'm sure he knew he'd be in trouble. Jake puts his foot on the rope. An easy way to get him to break that hold. You can't break it by force. You got to resort to those tactics. And I think at this point, Brad Armstrong is giving Jake the Snake somewhat of a wrestling lesson. He's using the fundamentals to his best advantages. I'll tell you, Brad really impresses me. He's a great wrestler.
I wholeheartedly concur there, Joe. A fine young man. Marietta, Georgia certainly has a fine athlete in this young man to be proud of.
And Jake the Snake. Jake again trying to get out of that arm bar, but to no avail. Brad clinging tenaciously to it. I think Brad's main strategy in this match has got to be keep your distance from him, keep him on the mat, and by all means stay out of that DDT. Brad with a hard right to the midsection, but Jake counters with a right of his own. Sends Brad into the turnbuckle, and now Brad's reeling. Jake can catch the momentum on you so quick.
Brad Armstrong fighting right back, and Jake Roberts has felt the brunt of the tremendous athlete from Marietta, Georgia. Brad Armstrong's on fire.
Brad's really hammering him, Jim. Brad catches him with a knee lift. Brad's got to stay on him, though, because Jake will get out of the ring on you at any time. Jake using eye gouging tactics there.
Brad's got the sleeper hold. He's got Jake in the sleeper hold.
This could be it. This is Brad's pet maneuvers. Oh! Jake managed to break it. Smart thinking on Jake's part, but you know, it kind of got to him there. He's still down on the ground. Brad Armstrong, I guess, hit his head on the mat. Brad's down. He's groggy, too. Oh. Brad really hammered him. Come on, Brad. Oh, no!
Tremendous blow to the groin area. My goodness. Jake the Snake Roberts is pulling out all stops.
$10,000 and a TV title must mean a lot to this man, because those kind of tactics should never be used in the ring. Jake the Snake now, oh no!
The DDT. Jake the Snake with a DDT. And Brad Armstrong.
Come on, Brad!
The winner of this television tournament match, Jake the Snake Roberts, and he moves into the final round, and we'll be back with more.
The DDT working very effectively on Brad Armstrong. We have seen Jake the Snake Roberts plant so many athletes with the DDT. It's a patented maneuver, and very impressive victory, I might add, for Jake the Snake Roberts over an exceptionally good athlete in Brad Armstrong. And Jake Roberts and Dick Slater, they have to settle this situation once and for all in some kind of match. Matchmaker Grizzly Smith and the board of directors of Mid-South have got to come up with some kind of match where, without a shadow of a doubt, a winner can be determined and they can settle their situation once and for all. I know those contract negotiations are pending. We hope to have an announcement on that very, very shortly. Now, when we come back, we're going to see, in my opinion, the greatest tag team in wrestling today. Steve Dr. Death Williams and Ted DiBiase right after this from your station.
Mid-South Wrestling, one fall, our television time remaining. Introducing first in the red corner, the new Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Steve Dr. Death Williams and Ted DiBiase. Their opponents, 240 pounds from Alabama, Ken Glover. And his partner, 250 pounds from Manchester, England, Steve Casey.
Tag team action now as the Mid-South Tag Team title holders, Ted DiBiase and Steve Williams, Dr. Death, take on Ken Glover and the fine athlete from Manchester, England, Steve Casey. Bill?
And there you see the Mid-South flag flying behind the fans. Another packed house here at the Irish Neal Boys Club. What a great day of action. I love Mid-South Wrestling because of the tremendous athletes we have here. Other places have a lot of showmanship, a lot of actors turned wrestlers, even some commentators that think they ought to be in the ring, and to me, that's baloney. These wrestlers here in Mid-South are in shape and ready to go. DiBiase, one of the top in the world, already back. He and Dr. Death, a 5-time All-American amateur wrestler from Oklahoma University, now the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. And, of course, the Rock and Roll Express hot on their trail. But there'll be others. Oh, Steve Casey shows why he is so highly thought of, as he caught DiBiase in a backslide and almost had him in a predicament. Drop kick, 6'5", 250 pounds, Steve Casey. Excitement and a standing ovation here by the fans. We're going to have a tribute to Hacksaw Duggan, Boyd, if we have enough time remaining. Stay tuned. Remember, in 2 weeks, Ric Flair, the World Heavyweight Champion. Mid-South is an independent wrestling promotion. We're not a member of the NWA, the WWF, or the AWA. So the world champion we invite to come here is who we consider the best. And Ric Flair is a great athlete. I told you I saw him go 1 hour with no falls against Kerry Von Erich, the modern-day warrior. And I've seen the champion of the WWF, and if he had to go 1 hour, boy, they'd have to put him in a pine box because he's a big guy. If you took away those certain things they take, he'd probably only weigh about 150 pounds. Dr. Death driving it in on Ken Glover. Dr. Death really pounding away. You see why the athletic endeavor is so stressed here in Mid-South. You can go to other places, and maybe you're up on more satellites or you're here or there, but if you're in Mid-South, you got to prove yourself. DiBiase, the figure 4 leg lock.
Locked it in.
He's got it locked up. Great athlete, great wrestling background.
The current Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death Steve Williams, with a victory here on Power Pro Wrestling. You know, a lot of people, including my good friend Bill Apter with Pro Wrestling Illustrated, have made the comment in their national publications and on national television that Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death Steve Williams are the #1 tag team combination in wrestling. Now, the Mid-South has long been known for outstanding tag team combinations. We all know that Jim Cornette's Midnight Express made their first big impact in professional wrestling in this area. also the Fantastics, also the legendary Rock and Roll Express really established themselves in this profession here in the Mid-South. And I'm certainly not taking anything away from any of those teams that I mentioned. They're all exceptionally good duos. But Ted DiBiase and Dr. S.C. Williams put it all together. They've got size. They got more size than the teams I mentioned. They've got great strength. They've got great background as amateur and in professional. They are an exceptional tag team combination. But you look right over their shoulder, and what do you have? Buzz Sawyer, Dick Slater, the Sheep Herders, and many more. We'll be back with more Power Pro Wrestling and a look at the All-American from the University of Michigan, Rob Ricksteiner, right after this.
Boyd Pierce with the ring introductions on our first match here on Power Professional Wrestling. You hear the people in the audience chanting to Ricksteiner, "You ain't got no socks." I think Rob picked up that habit in amateur wrestling. Many people wear amateur wrestling shoes without socks, especially in the freestyle ranks. Rob Ricksteiner, of course, a Big Ten wrestling champion. Jimmy Backlund has a good amateur background as well, but I think he's a little bit outgunned here in this particular match. As Rob Ricksteiner takes him over in a fireman's carry out of that armbar. Jimmy Backlund with a nip-up. Backlund's a fine athlete, extremely flexible. I think if he puts on a few pounds, he could become quite a good wrestler. Rob Ricksteiner, on the other hand, has all the weight necessary, as you can tell, to become a big star. I believe this man has quite a bit of potential. Whoa, look at that elevation! All the way across the ring. Jimmy Backlund came from probably 2 feet off of those ropes, and Backlund's a tough kid. I'm surprised he got up from that one. He went all the way across the ring. Ricksteiner goes for a hard clothesline and misses. Backlund jumps up over him and catches him a drop kick. Couple of rights to the midsection. He's hammering Ricksteiner. Backlund knows he has to do everything he can, trying to take it to him. Ricksteiner caught him that hard elbow and switched the momentum quickly. Whoa! Ricksteiner with that back suplex. Carl Fergie down for the count, and Backlund is out of it. Rob Ricksteiner, a very physical encounter, gains a victory here on Power Professional Wrestling. Let's go back to Jim Ross in the studio.
The rookie from the University of Michigan with a great victory here on Power Pro Wrestling, Rob Ricksteiner. And we're going to keep a close eye on that fine athlete as the weeks progress here on PPW. Next week on this program, we're very excited because we're going to have a segment not only with the Rock and Roll Express Wrestling, but I'm also going to have, hopefully, an exclusive interview with Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express. We're going to be seeing them this coming week, and we hope to have that interview ready for you next week here on Power Pro Wrestling. Also, we'll have a very special announcement about a match that could happen in the Mid-South, a big tag team tournament where the winner will receive, listen to this, $1 million. We'll have that announcement for you next week on Power Pro Wrestling as well. And hopefully, we'll have a look at the sensational rookie, Dave Peterson. For our whole crew here at Power Pro Wrestling, we certainly appreciate you joining us. And tell your friends about our program. And until next week, I'm Jim Ross. So long, everybody.